Let's not sugarcoat this. On a chilly November morning in 2025, the British monarchy did something it's never done before. It spoke directly to the public. Not through aides, not through tabloids, not through palace leaks, but on camera at exactly 7 a.m. a video appeared online. Prince William, heir to the throne, was sitting in what looked like his private study at Adelaide Cottage. No fancy backdrop, no royal fanfare, just a desk lamp, a steady stare and words that hit like a bomb next to him, quiet but clearly there. Was Catherine. William didn't ease in. He didn't explain, he didn't soften it. He started with a declaration: Meghan and Harry are done with me and Catherine, not anger. Not emotion pure. Cut off then came the line that shook everything. The king has given us full authority, and we will act fast in Parliament. Pause for a second. That wasn't just talk, that was the future king saying Meghan and Harry weren't being treated as family anymore, they were a problem that needed state-level action. And then, without missing a beat, William said the word everyone knows. But no one expects to hear Epstein. One word turned this from royal drama into a full-blown institutional crisis within minutes. The world got it. This wasn't a message. It was a line in the sand. And once the monarchy draws that line publicly, there's no stepping back. Here's where most people get it wrong. This wasn't William losing control. This was William being given control. When he said full authority, he wasn't bluffing. He wasn't speaking from emotion. He was speaking from power. Behind that video lies a reality the palace has been quietly managing for over a year. King Charles III is sick. Cancer doesn't just weaken a body, it shrinks how much chaos you can handle. Sources inside the palace describe a king who could still manage tradition, state business, and diplomacy, but couldn't take the endless hits coming from California. Interview after interview, memoir after memoir, streaming deals built on royal drama. And it didn't stop. Even while he was in treatment. So what happens when a reigning king can't shield the institution he's supposed to protect? That's exactly what this video was saying. William wasn't asking for permission. He wasn't hinting at consequences. He was telling the public that the crown was done just enduring. It was moving into enforcement mode. Catherine's presence mattered just as much as William's words. She wasn't there to soften him. She was there to back him up, to make it official. This was unity. This was resolve. This was the Wildhorses telling the country and Parliament that the era of absorbing Sussex fallout was over. And once a monarchy stops absorbing damage, it starts cutting weight. Timing mattered. And this timing was deliberate. By late 2025, the monarchy was juggling three crises at once. First, public trust was slipping. Polls showed younger Brits were tuning out or even turning against the crown. And every Sussex story kept getting used as proof of dysfunction. Second, Parliament was restless. Quiet talks were happening about security privileges, the relevance of royal titles, and taxpayer-funded protection. The Sussex situation wasn't just gossip anymore, it was becoming legislative. And third, this one matters most, the king's health changed everything. When Charles was strong, the strategy was containment. When he got vulnerable, containment became risky. Sources talk about late-night calls between father and son, where Charles, exhausted, begged for unity only to wake up to another headline, another interview, another scandal packaged for profit. So William made a choice, not as a brother, not as a son, but as the man preparing to inherit a crown already under pressure. This video wasn't about anger. It was about survival. And once survival becomes the priority, family feelings don't matter. From this moment on, Harry and Meghan weren't just estranged royals, they were active reputational threats. And that's the most dangerous spot anyone can be in inside a monarchy. Let's drop the fairy tale here. This didn't start with Meghan, it didn't start with Netflix. The rift between William and Harry began years earlier, when the reality of who would wear the crown and who would live in its shadow became impossible to ignore. William was born to be managed, Harry was born to be protected, and as adults the imbalance hardened into resentment. By the mid-2010s, insiders say William was already carrying the full psychological weight of kingship. Discipline, restraint, silence. Meanwhile, Harry still had something William would never get again: freedom. The freedom to speak impulsively, disappear, act without consequence. That difference mattered. When Harry got global praise through the Invictus Games Palisades, notice something subtle but dangerous: not jealousy, divergence. William wasn't envious of attention. He was worried about unpredictability. Then came Meghan. According to later accounts confirmed in Harry's own memoir, Spare William directly warned his brother that Meghan's speed intensity and Hollywood instincts could overwhelm the royal system. That wasn't control, that was risk assessment. Harry didn't hear concern. He heard interference. From that moment, the relationship shifted. By the time Spare came out in 2023, detailing fights, name-calling, and private arguments, William's trust was gone, not damaged, gone. In royal terms, there's no bigger betrayal than monetizing private family conflict. Once that line is crossed, there's no brotherhood left, only exposure, let's be precise. Because this is where narratives go off the rails. When William said Epstein, he wasn't accusing Meghan of a crime. What he did was far smarter. He flagged reputational risk. The Epstein reference goes back to a 2021 legal filing tied to Prince Andrew, where an accuser tried to name Meghan in a deposition. Nothing came of it, no testimony, no charges, no evidence. But here's the problem the monarchy sees. Once a name is out there, especially online, it never fully disappears, and for an institution already shaken by Andrew's downfall, just being linked is radioactive. William's words were deliberate. Meghan's link to Epstein, again, not involvement, not wrongdoing, was enough in monarchy terms. That's all it takes. The crown doesn't wait for guilt. It reacts to risk by bringing that association up publicly. William did two things at once. 1. He justified institutional action. 2. He forced the Sussexes onto the defensive suddenly. This wasn't about family drama or emotional truth anymore. It was about whether Harry and Meghan had become too costly to protect. And once that question gets asked inside a monarchy, history shows the answer is rarely kind. Here's what the Sussex camp underestimated. The public doesn't stay outraged forever. It gets tired by the time William's video dropped. Britain wasn't reacting emotionally anymore, it was deciding. Polls moved fast and hard. A clear majority sided with William, not because he was nicer, but because he looked in control, and in chaos, control always wins. Support for stripping Harry and Meghan of titles surged. Younger audiences, once sympathetic, started checking out completely, blaming Sussex drama for making the monarchy feel unserious, unstable, and irrelevant. Even worse, the conversation shifted. It stopped asking, are Harry and Meghan right? And started asking, why are they even involved at all? That's not outrage, that's expiration. And once public patience expires, institutions stop explaining themselves, they act. If William was the voice of enforcement, Catherine was the proof. This wasn't a snap decision. She didn't interrupt, she didn't soften his words. She didn't flinch. Her presence told Parliament, the press, and the public one thing: this decision had been discussed calmly, privately, and thoroughly. Sources described Catherine as the internal brake, turning fury into discipline, emotion into structure. No insults, no drama, just institutional defence. And that restraint worked. While Meghan's statements leaned on healing rhetoric and emotional framing, Catherine's silence projected stability. In a monarchy, that contrast is lethal. People don't rally behind who feels more, they rally behind who holds the line. And Catherine held it. Without saying a word. Here's where the fairy tale ends and reality begins. This isn't about interviews or feelings anymore, it's about mechanisms. Parliament doesn't feud, it processes. Security privileges came under review. Title relevance entered formal discussion. Equity audits appeared under the language of fairness, not punishment. And the comparison everyone avoided saying out loud became unavoidable. Prince Andrew. Once the Crown decided Andrew was too toxic to defend status, followed consequence. William knows that history, and so does Parliament. That's why the Sussexes' options are shrinking. Another memoir looks retaliatory. A lawsuit just reinforces conflict. Silence lets momentum harden. For the first time, Harry and Meghan aren't controlling the narrative, they're reacting to it. And institutions always win reaction wars, which brings us to the moment this story was always building toward. Every monarchy hits a point where it must decide what it's willing to lose. Not who it loves, not who it forgives, but what it protects. This was that moment. Not because of one interview, not because of one accusation, not even because of one name spoken out loud. But because the damage had stopped being manageable. William didn't confront Harry and Meghan because he wanted to, he did it because the Crown could no longer absorb it. Absorption breeds rot, confrontation forces claret. And clarity is exactly what the institution chose. Now the machinery is moving quietly, methodically, irreversibly. Titles may fall. Access may vanish. History won't call this a family fight. It will call it a transfer of power from endurance to enforcement, as King Charles III watches from the shadows of treatment rooms and a twilight reign. The heir has made one thing perfectly clear. The monarchy will not bleed quietly anymore. And this story doesn't end here. Because once a crown decides to protect itself, the next chapter isn't loud. It's cold, procedural, and it changes everything.